tables at the very end where you're just going to practice finding the correlation coefficient. Okay? So I'm going to demo an example problem, and then you guys are all going to do the warm-up problem. One person will do it. Work together, help each other use the calculator, pay attention to what buttons they're pressing, because on the test, you will all have to do this on your own. Did we hear that? Yeah. We're all going to have to do this process on our own. You don't need to record this part. I haven't even started. Thanks, Matt. Okay, so while you're using the calculators today, the person who's using the calculators, please follow along with him, help him. If you've already done it and you feel good, then just answer questions and work on the task. Yes, you have to plot points today and make graphs. So if you're waiting to use the calculator or you just used it, do that while you're waiting for someone. Please stay on task, work together, help each other, because this is something you are tested on. And on the day of the test, I'm not going to tell you how to use the calculator. Do we understand? So you have 3 days to practice doing this in class only. 3 days. Okay? Questions? Kasra?
Subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Do you have an 84 or a TI Inspire?
TI 84 plus.
Okay, yes, you can use your own graphing calculator if you have it. I'm just going to have to show you how to use yours separately.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll do that after. Yes, ma'am. We do it in, so here's what happens. You have a part 1 and a part 2 of the test. Okay? I pass out part 2 to 10 of you with graphing calculators. Everybody else gets part 1. When 10 of you turn in part 2, I call the next set of people to trade their part 1 for part 2. Wow. And then when they're done with it, I give them back part 1. Okay, and so we just go through 10 people at a time. Okay? Yes?
If you understand this process, how long should it take you?
On the
Graphing calculator.
Oh, the graphing calculator part of the test should take you like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Yes?
So we're returning the graphing calculators to you after we do that part of the test, but can we also get like a regular calculator?
Yes, for the other part of the test. Yes. So both parts of the test have calculators. Other questions? Okay. So one person from each group come get one of these calculators right here. It's one per group. And let's see, Jonathan, Kasra, can you guys switch seats for today? Right in front of you. Kasra, I'm going to put you at the group of 5 because you have your own. So that way it's always 4 people that have to switch and trade between each other. All right. And Kasra, what I do is going to be completely different than what you're going to do. So just sit tight. Okay. All right. So, graphing calculator. First thing you're going to do is press the on button. It has the little home symbol. So if you press that, you should get a screen that looks like this. If you are the one with the calculator and want to follow along, that's fine. I literally hit the on button. If you press the on button and it does not look like this, you press the on button again. Are we good? You press the on button, it takes you to this screen. This is your home screen. It's like when you're on Google and you want to go back to the search bar, you just press the Google symbol and you go back to the search bar. Home button takes me back to the home screen. Okay, we good? Mm-hmm. Second thing we're going to do, we are going to be making a list and spreadsheet. You can get there one of 2 ways. You can either do a new document, which is one way to do it. So if you press new document, and you get this message pop up, you can just say no. You don't have to save anything on here. Okay. And when new document pops up, it's going to ask you for selecting something to add. We are going to be doing lists and spreadsheets to enter the information in the table, and then we're going to be doing a data and statistic afterwards. So we are going to start by always selecting a list and spreadsheet. And to go up and down, left, right, I'm using the touchpad button here.
So you can't see.
I know you can't see my finger. Make it brighter, but then that's going to go away.
That's so cool.
So this guy is a touchpad. That's how I go up and down. So we are doing a list and spreadsheets. You can also press it, and then when I want to pick something, I hit the center of the touchpad. Did we all see? That's a little better. And back to being dark again. Okay. From here, you can enter all of your data. Now, how many of you have used Excel spreadsheets?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This row here that has the equal to bar is so you can type in formulas. We are not typing in any formulas, which means you are never going to put anything in this row. Do we understand?
Yes.
The top one, that has a little label next to it. Do you all see how it looks like a luggage tag?
Yes.
Okay, a label for you to name a column something. We will be using that one, okay? So I'm gonna label my first column X, and I literally just typed in an X that's at the bottom of the calculator. It's a white button. And then in the next column, so I press down to get out of the box, go over, back up to B. I'm in that label column. I'm gonna enter the variable Y, which is a white button at the bottom. I'm not typing anything in the equal to bar. If you type a number here, it's going to screw up the whole process. You'll have to start over. Because what it does is it makes everything in the column whatever you type in the equal to bar. Does that make sense? So never do that, or else you will have to start over. So we're going to enter some data. I'm just going to make up some values for us to use. Okay. So I'm going to say my first point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll go 10 points. And then my Y values that go with these ordered pairs, we'll just make up things. 8, 5, 7, 3, 9.
And to enter, what are you pressing?
I am pressing the button that says enter.
Okay.
Or you could press the down arrow. I know. I know it's hard to see.
Did you enter in 10 or 9?
Wait.
I just made these up. It's really not important that you're getting the same ones as me right now. Okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to do, it will only work if your screen is a black box that you have highlighted. If it looks like I typed something in, see how it's a cursor and it's flashing? What I'm about to do next will not work if your screen looks like this, if you're stuck inside a cell typing something. You have to get out of it by either pressing down or enter, and now the next thing we're going to do will work. So here's what we're going to do next. We want to do some kind of statistic analysis. Okay? On a computer, what button might I press to help me get to all the options of things I can do? Options, what's another name for that? Menu or settings, right? Well, we are going to use the button that says menu. And there's literally a button on the calculator that says menu. You press it. It gives us some options. The first one is actions, insert, data, statistics, table. Which one do you think we want? Statistics. So go to statistics.
Stack.
The stat calculation is what we are doing in this class. We are not doing any of the other three, so we're going to select stat calculation.
It was happening.
And then I'm just clicking over to the right to go to the next screen. You can also press enter to get the next box to show up. And what we are going to be doing is a linear regression. Notice there are two options for a linear regression. One of them is mx plus b, like slope-intercept form. The other is a plus bx. It does not matter which one you choose.
Oh.
So let's do m plus bx because we all know y equals mx plus b. Okay. I kept saying it wrong, sorry. mx plus b. So click enter. it's gonna ask you to enter a few things. Well, the reason we labeled stuff at the very beginning is so all I have to do is type in the label. So the X list I called X, so I'm gonna type in X. Okay, and if I'm not sure that I got it, if I press the down arrow while I'm highlighted, it'll normally give me a drop down menu, but it's not. Why is it not? Alright, let's type X. We're gonna type Y for the Y list, because that's what we called it. If you called it something different, you have to type in letter for letter exactly what you typed it, okay? We are not going to worry about saving the equation. We're not going to worry about frequency. We're not going to worry about category. We are not going to worry about include categories. We are going to worry about where the first result column is. So my X list is in A, my Y list is in B. I want my results for the stat calculations to either be in C or D. Okay? It doesn't matter. I prefer to leave space between my entries, so I'm going to put it in D. So I clicked over, I entered a D, and I'm going to delete the C by pressing the DEL button for delete. Okay? There's a button that says DEL. That means delete. Do we all see it? If you accidentally deleted those little brackets, you can put them back in.
Oh, yeah.
All you have to do is find the left parenthesis button, and above it in yellow, you'll see those square brackets. So to get to them, you just press the yellow button, and then the left parenthesis, and they'll show back up.
Control.
The control button. It's yellow.
Oh, okay, cool. I got it.
Then we're going to go down again, and we're going to select. Okay. Now notice, sometimes it might look like nothing happened on your screen. If it looks like that, it's because you need to press the up arrow and go back to the top row. Now I'm on my top row, and so I have some data there.
This is exciting.
Here's the first thing that we found. We found mx plus b. This is the equation of your linear regression, so I could write it down. My n is negative 0.7636 x plus the b value it gave me, which is 8.4.
Nice.
Okay? And then the other number we're going to collect from here, if we go down, notice it's an r squared, and then there's r. This is the number we're talking about today a lot. This is the correlation coefficient. Okay? That's what I want you to find today for everything, and we're going to compare this value of correlation coefficient to the graph you make on your scatter plot. Okay? So this correlation for this data is negative 0.77. You are always going to round to the hundredths when you write them down. Questions on finding the correlation coefficient or using the calculator so far? Sarah?
So on the test, we're going to need to find the ones R,
You're going to have to find M, B, and R.
and then you'll just ask us what's M, B, and R.
I'm going to ask you for the equation of the linear regression, which is mx plus b. There's M and B. And I'm going to ask you for the correlation coefficient, which is R.
That's all?
Okay.
And then we're going to do more with that, but we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay? Any questions on using the calculator?
No.
Oh, what's this yellow thing on the back?
That's to charge it in the caddy it comes in. Okay, so
I don't think you need that.
try doing this again, but this time do it with the warm-up data. Work together. You're going to take turns.